Hey guys, so this week our video is going to be hiking with dogs. We're going to take you along what we typically have them bring in their packs and some of the tips and definitely all the mistakes we've learned along the way hiking with them. So come along! So typically our dogs are always on leashes on the trails, but right now we're filming in a dog park in town, so that's why you'll see them roaming free, running around like psychos. We're gonna go through what we typically have our dogs bring in their packs for just a day hike. So they both have their own packs. Cooper has their water for the day and their food. Typically, we like to bring these bars, Traverse Dog Co. they're called. It's just a bar of dog food, like a granola bar almost. Or we'll have just a Ziploc full of dry food. And then we have their collapsible bowls. They each have their own bowl. We have some paw wax, which is really helpful if it's hot or if it's really cold. We tried the booties on them, but it just wasn't a good fit for them. Cooper agrees, we hated the booties. And this is my model Trek. You a good boy? They think that I have treats. I don't have anything in here. And we have their first aid kit too, which we bring every time as well. And then if they don't have the packs on, we just take this off and it's just a harness for them. And I really like it because, do you want to practice? Because they're heavy, so if I need to lift them up, right? It makes it super easy if we're going over some big rocks or something that they can't get up. So dog food, water, first aid kit, and paw protection is the biggest things for us when we're out hiking. And we make them carry their own stuff, but nothing too heavy. And also we have poop bags, and they carry their own poop throughout the day. So we took you guys along with us while we went out for a hike with our dogs, and that's the main focus of this video. We wanted to go over a few points of just things to think about when you're going out with your dog, and one of them is do your research. Cooper, he is the greatest dog alive, and he will hike until he passes out. He just wants to please us, wants to have fun and be with us outside. He has no limit basically, so it's up to us to make sure that he's on safe terrain, that we turn around if he's too tired, and we do a lot of our extra research if we're bringing our dogs with us and read trip reports. I like to creep on Instagram if people tag the location of a hike that we're going to do and kind of creep it out and see if there's any other dogs that have done it recently.
Just to add to that, when you hike with a dog, just have more flexibility and just, I guess, general safety awareness. So, you know, just pay attention to your dog if your dog is limping all of a sudden or slowing down, or you know your dog best. So if they're always like high strung, high energy, and then all of a sudden they're lagging behind, it's time to pay attention to your dog. And you know, you might have to turn around, or you know, there might be something wrong with the dog. A lot of times they might just need a snack or some water. We found with our dogs, a lot of times they're thirsty, but they're not drinking enough. And even when we put just water in front of them, they won't drink it. So a lot of times we will give them some food and then we pour water in the bowl so they have to drink while they eat. And that's the way that we've found to keep them hydrated. So just something to think about. Also, if you're just getting into hiking with your dog, we suggest starting very small, even just going to a dog park and just doing a couple miles with them there, looping around, things like that, easy terrain.
It depends on the breed also. I know with Cooper, I think labs are a bit more prone to joint and hip problems, so my vet recommended we waited until he was almost 2 to do his first big mountain, which was very hard for me to wait. But we did a lot of just small trails and hiking in the woods on flat terrain before that. And one thing that was new to us when we moved to Colorado was the different classes for the hikes. when we were in New York. We never really thought about that, but when we started hiking the 14,000 foot mountains in Colorado, they're all class 1 to 4 or 5. And that was something that we really had to learn about, what our dogs can do, what they're capable of. Typically, if a hike is above a class 2, we won't take them unless we know for sure that a lot of other dogs have been successful on the mountain, or we've seen pictures of the tricky spots and we feel confident that they can do that. And it's important too, when we're doing those hikes, that we have in our mind beforehand, we can turn around. It's not a big deal if we don't summit. We want them to have fun. I never want them to feel scared or uncomfortable, because that is just so unfair. They're just out there to have fun and we're bringing them along. It's so not worth it just to summit for them. So
yeah, just adding on to that, your dog does not care if it summits a mountain. It doesn't care how high it gets. It does not. Dogs don't care about that. You could take them to the same trail over and over and they would have just as much fun. So all those lists and things, these places you want to take your dog, those are just for you. So you might have to turn around on some or not get to the summit with your dog, and that's totally fine. We ended up having to do that in Colorado a couple times, but one time it was Mount Sneffels, and
the worst.
We got all the way up, and we were maybe 20 feet from the summit, and there was this crux point where you had to get up, and it was a little bit sketchy for Brecca and I to do alone, and it just wasn't worth it for the dog. So the dog stayed. We took turns summiting, just going up, tagging the summit, coming down. And the dogs stayed, and they were fine. You know, they had a great time. They were safe, and it was a good experience because we didn't push it.
But really, Sneffels, don't do it. It's beautiful. It sucks.
Yeah, it did suck.
Also, what we've learned over the years is to really pay attention to the weather. Not so much the rain or the cold. We always bring a jacket if it's winter for them, and they never have issues. But in the summer, if it's hot, Cooper overheats incredibly quickly, and it's kind of hard to tell because he's out of breath just like sitting down. So you can't really tell if he's getting overheated in the sun. We will research the trail, and if we can't find that it has any water crossings or any place where he can swim or cool off his body, we start ridiculously early so that we're done and back to the car or back to a lake or something before, noon or 2 p.m. We've started at 2 in the morning and summited for sunrise just to avoid Cooper getting overheated so that we could all enjoy the day together. And it's also way better that way anyways because you avoid all the crowds, in my opinion.
Certain precautions have to be taken when you are starting in the dark, just to make sure that, you know, you keep your dogs with you and you have plenty of light. You know, you don't want to get 2 hours in and it's still dark and your headlight dies or something like that.
We did have a light up collar for them. We just lost it over the years, so now we just put an extra headlamp around their neck just so we can keep an eye on them. So.
Yeah, that works pretty well. Also, you know your dog best and you know their personalities, so that's something to take into consideration when you're planning your hike. So if you have a dog that just loves laying on the couch, don't go and try and do 15 miles in a day, and don't expect them to go out on the trail and they're going to be hopping over boulders and doing these crazy things if they're not like that. If you have a dog and he's running around your house and he's getting into things and you can't, it's just like nonstop with that dog, you're pretty confident that he can handle a big day hiking. So those are things that you know best, but always, I guess the theme is plan. Just think things through before you get out on the trail with your dog, and it should work out well.
And that's something that we had to learn the hard way when we got our youngest dog, Trek. Our lab, Cooper, is, I would call him the most perfect dog in the whole entire world. He really didn't get training. He just stays with us all the time. His recall is perfect. He can handle, you know, he's big and goofy, but he can handle jumping off these crazy moves on hikes, and he can do 12 hours at a time. And we kind of just expected Trek to be the same, and that was a real learning curve because Trek is a herder. He sees something 2 miles away, and if he's not on leash, he will run 2 miles away and he won't come back. And he will chase the biggest animal, but he will also be terrified to jump down a really small ledge and need a bit of assistance. So that's definitely been a learning experience for us, but it's awesome, and we have figured out a way to make it work so that everyone has fun, hopefully. I have fun, so.
You know.
And now we want to chat about why hiking with dogs is the greatest thing in the whole entire world, at least for me.
Hiking with dogs can add a lot more stress and a lot more to think about. You know, a lot more planning. You gotta know exactly what you're doing, what's ahead of you. Are there water crossings? Are there sections where you need to use both your hands and your feet, and the dog won't be able to do it alone? But
are they even allowed on the trail?
Yeah, are they allowed?
Yeah.
But hiking with dogs is just the best because they get so much joy out of it. And there's been so many times where I've been tired and I'm hiking out and I'm just ready to get back to the car, and all of a sudden I'll kick a rock or something and it'll go down the trail, and all of a sudden Coop is just like a little puppy. It's like he just started the hike, and then all of a sudden I'm laughing, and I'm just having a good time again. And
they are always ready to party. We've started a hike at midnight and hiked all through the night, and they're just down. They're so excited. It doesn't matter when we start. It doesn't matter the trail, how much sleep they got. They are so happy to be there with us, and they just are the greatest ever. Dogs are just better than people. So when you go out with dogs, I think the main point is you want everybody to have fun and be safe and be respectful of the area that you're in as well. And it just takes a little bit more planning, but in my opinion, it's worth it. I wouldn't have gotten out and explored as many places as I have without the dogs' encouragement and pushing me to get out the door some days, and it's just the greatest ever. Go get a dog and hike with them.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the thumbs up and like this video, and hit the little bell so you can be notified every time we post a new one, which will be every Monday.
Yeah. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks.
And if you have any recommendations for things that you want to see from us, just leave a comment below. Right?
Yep.
Bring it up top.
What?
Are you filming?
Oh yeah.